handloom sectors in the Northeast, opportunities and challenges, where we'll be touching upon main points, that is marketing and branding linkages, standardization issues, central and state government schemes in promoting traditional handlooms, marketing of Assamese Gamosa and Mekhla Chadar. To do for this, I would like to call upon our speakers on the stage, Brigadier Rajiv Kumar Singh, Managing Director, Northeastern Handicrafts and Handloom Development Corporation. A round of applause to Brigadier Rajiv Kumar Singh. Also, Shri S. Bandyopadhyaya, Director, Weaver Service Center, Ministry of Textiles, Guwahati. Let us hear it up for our speakers who are joining us. Dr. Sandhya Ravi, Professor and Principal, Nitte School of Fashion Technology and Interior Design, Bengaluru, Karnataka. Shri Amarendra Kumar Das, Professor, Department of Design, IIT Guwahati. And Shri Sanjeev Shab Pandit, Proprietor, Vibjior Enterprise, Guwahati. Dr. Swapna Mishra, Chief Operation Officer and Chief Officiating CEO, Textile Sector Skill Council, New Delhi. And also Mr. Manish Kumar Jain, the entrepreneur who is related to the skill in textiles. A round of applause before our speakers start here. And we would request our esteemed speaker, Dr. Swapna Mishra, Moderator, Chief Operation Officer and Officiating CEO for Textile Sector Skill Council, New Delhi.
Very good afternoon, everyone. I hope I'm audible. So here for this session, we have people from different areas and institutions. So we have Dr. Das from IIT Guwahati, who has been working on designing new instruments. Is English okay for everyone? And we have Dr. Bandyopadhyaya from Weaver Service Center. We have ma'am, sir, and we have owner of a very innovative organization, contributing towards a lot other areas, not just handlooms. So, and I'm from the Textile Sector Skill Council, so we are under the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, developing the ecosystem for training, skilling and placements. There are 36, 37 sector skill councils, and Textile Sector Skill Council is one of them. We have developed over 77 courses, out of which some have been adopted under Samarth also. So we are discussing the opportunities and challenges. I would first invite Dr. Bandyopadhyaya to speak on, if a candidate is already trained or already has skills in the handloom sector, how can he avail different opportunities? What are the challenges they would face, and what are the opportunities available which they can avail to expand their work? Dr. Bandyopadhyaya.
Thank you, madam. Good afternoon to all of you. I would like to say a few words before addressing the topic raised by Honorable Madam. Definitely representing from Ministry of Textiles, Development Commissioner for Handlooms, I feel proud that I'm working here in Northeastern region. And Weaver Service Center, basically it is coming under Development Commissioner for Handlooms and addressing across country, rendering technical services. And it is very precise and very relevant too, that whatever challenges we are observing in every nook and corner of the country, the Northeastern region is little different because of the terrain issues and some other limitations. Definitely, it is a very relevant topic today we are discussing about, that under Ministry of Textiles, DC Handloom, following the flagship scheme, National Handloom Development Program, NHDP, and addressing various issues for the sector of handloom. There's a cottage is always unorganized and scattered, and that is our challenge everywhere. And the beneficiaries, those who are weavers and ancillary workers, require various handhold support. And that way, we are working with the state machineries because in every state we have at least one center, weaver service center. But in few states we don't have, but the state machineries are there. It is working under commerce and industries or the handloom and textiles. Basically, we have seen that the weavers are basically skilled and sometimes semi-skilled. They require skill upgradation. They require some capacity building program, but not for the average weaving process that they are following in present days, but definitely to chase the upmarket or the quality products, whatever technology or technical interventions happened. Based on that, we are preparing a syllabus, and now in present days, under Samarth, we are providing 8 such jobs under weaving, dyeing design, and printing discipline. And weavers are selected or shortlisted weavers are getting those skill upgradation training. After the training, definitely they are getting some wage compensation because we are inviting semi-skilled weaver from the rural area, and they are devoting full-time attendance here to cope up the knowledge. And we have a process for assessment of trainees, and if they are qualified, in that case, they are getting wage compensation. During the training, whatever equipments, tools, machineries, raw material required, that they are getting. But this is, as I have mentioned about the cottage industry, that while undergoing any training program, so they are expecting to follow to the same technique for their post-training session. And for that, they require some assured job or orders, and marketing assistance is needed. That way, we have designed our scheme. Under NHDP, we have 2 different folds, which is one is under cluster development program and other is outside the cluster. So the individuals outside the cluster fold, they may these days avail this kind of assistance. For example, if they are now under Samarth, they have trained through improved devices, upgraded looms and devices, or the dyeing techniques, definitely they require such equipments in their household. So that way they are applying their applications and getting 90% GOI share to avail those facilities. At the same time, whenever they found that they got adequate products, because we are providing at the same time the design intervention, product diversification, test marketing process, and through that intervention, they are equipped to participate in different exhibitions and events. And that way, in the state, within the state or outside the state, they are participating in National Handloom Expo, Delhi Haat, and other craft melas with availing free stalls, freight subsidy, and the fair, TADA, etc. And we have seen that if you see, the target group of consumers are basically proposed to be categorized into domestic and overseas, and further into mass and premium. So for premium market precisely, we require very close monitoring and intervention of design and product development. So our one flagship component called Hatkargha Sambardhan Sahayata. So that under that Hatkargha Sambardhan Sahayata, we have enlisted around 50 upgraded devices, irrespective of looms and pre-loom gadgets, post-loom gadgets, and dyeing equipments, etc. So that they are availing, getting 90% from GOI share. And I would like to mention about the upgraded device, like those who are practicing, like in Assam, you must be knowing that Sualkuchi is very popular and prominent hub of Assam, doing Muga and Eri silk product with good designs, traditional Assamese designs, and sometimes they are catering for the contemporary market too. And for that, they require upgraded design devices. So we have introduced electronic jacquard to avail. This cost, very expensive device, and it is cost like 3 lakh rupees, and now they are getting 90% GOI assistance. But the thing is, while availing their training program, we have to be very keen with the collaboration with the state machineries while preparing our proposal that such assistance should be provided before availing any such kind assistance. We may mention about the areas where the schemes under special handloom project that is covered under NHDP. So earlier it was, as I have mentioned about the cluster program, cluster is the size of 200 to 400 weavers. Now we don't have any cap for the weaver sizes. Whosoever practicing weaving, their products are marketable and their potential, they require several assistance, they may go for cluster program, and that way state and other agencies and their apex bodies may submit their applications to DC handloom offices for further assistance. And we have some above, on top of the cluster program is mega cluster, which cost 30 CR, and which is a holistic approach where we are proposing for some infrastructure development. Because as we all know, the textile, in sector, the dyeing practices is a very common and prominent trade, and that is why we require dyeing facilities or some pre-loom, post-loom facilities in every pockets. And we are getting a good number of proposals from the northeastern region these days for setting up those pre-loom, post-loom setup, as well as the design studio and the dyeing facilities. So these kind of machines, we have seen that several institutes like IIT and other reputed institutes are doing some R&D and providing good machines. So we have a dynamic process for Hatkarka Samvardhan Sahayata, where our technical committee incorporating those machines in a regular manner. So that the weavers and their community or their specific project can avail these kind of facilities for the betterment of the handloom. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So as all of you know, there are around 77 jobs in textile sector which are NSQF aligned. Out of that, 15 of them are in handloom and 8 of them are covered under Samart scheme also. The 15 are covered under the Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana. So Dr. Bandyopadhyay has already told that there are various other schemes which are available to assist the person once he has the competency already or acquires the competency after short-term training. Now handlooms is supposed to be a very tedious process, not very comfortable and very hard on the weaver, and therefore I would invite Dr. A.K. Das from IIT Guwahati to throw some light on the intervention IIT Guwahati has done to help the weavers in this aspect. Dr. Das, please.
Good afternoon. I can see lots of students in front of me, and I hope you are enjoying the environment of IIT. IIT, we try to solve technological problems, design problems to make life easier. And in textiles also, we have been doing the same. Textile, if you see, during the independence, textile sector was one of the best sectors for which government did not have to think. But that also made that sector go dwindling. And handloom is one of the sectors which provides lots of employment in the rural areas. And that is not only the things. Textiles that we make or the clothes that we wear, dresses that we wear, that bear our national culture. So Assamese will be wearing Mekhla, Chadar, and somebody will be wearing saris and all these things. So many of the tribes or even nationals, they are giving their identity through dresses. It's important. So when handloom it comes to, it's a manually operated loom, because if you use external power, it becomes power looms. So handloom is to be operated by hand, and it is obviously tedious, productivity is low, and nobody wants to become a weaver. So what we do, we have been designing looms, improving the looms, so that people can operate that loom very easily, and Assam is an area, or northeastern sector is an area where weavers are mostly women. So basically compared to Banaras or anywhere where male weavers are there, it is difficult for women to do the tedious work. Our effort is to create smooth, energy efficient looms, which actually gives you good productivity, at the same time makes it easy for weaving. And ma'am will tell you about it. Quality is important. So traditional handlooms, it's very difficult to maintain your desired quality. We put things in such a way that you can easily maintain the quality. And we always sometimes hear questions like this, that since there is power loom, very advanced looms, why you need hand looms? There are mechanized looms which are very good, but that doesn't create employment for more people. That doesn't create avenues for creating very specific and designed fabrics. Handloom is the only one that can provide. So we cannot just say that it is obsolete, now designs are obsolete and all. We have to make it better. And we have been doing that. And effort has been seen. But handloom is such a thing that if you are not interested, you may not notice it. But you will notice one thing. How many of you have seen Dibbahan? Metal tricycle rickshaws. Do you recognize Dibbahan? Metal rickshaws? Nobody is talking? So that is a product which is on the road. You must be using it, metal rickshaws, and it is easier because all peoples are benefited. But handloom is such a thing that only weavers are benefited directly. The people who buy it, they don't know what is the hardship that weavers go, so it doesn't come into the focus. We try to make life easier, and government also is supporting it. You can imagine the biggest handloom clusters in North India is Banaras, and our Prime Minister is elected from that constituency. And he is putting lots of emphasis in it. And our latest loom that we came up with was actually effort of Prime Minister's office, scientific office. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So now that we know that there are 15 courses under PMKY, 8 under Samart, and there is aid available for buying the equipment and marketing and other things under the Ministry of Textile schemes. There is also equipment available which reduces the drudgery. I would now invite Mr. Manish Kumar Jain, owner of Pradyogita Enterprises. Suppose somebody who's trained, who also has access to funding and who's aware of various schemes, if he wants to buy an equipment, how can his organization or other organizations help?
Thank you, ma'am. Myself, Manish Kumar Jain, Pradyogita Enterprise. I'm based in Guwahati. We are approved manufacturers for supplying and manufacturing these textile machines, especially handlooms, silk machines. See, we have got a lot of Erik and Muga silk cocoons available. That has to be evaluated, extracted. Na? So we are manufacturing these machines which can make yarn out of the cocoons, which are available in northeastern states especially. And from that we can weave the fabrics in the textile sector for local use as per our rich traditional items and equipments. See, we should, people of Assam, we should feel proud. Na? Our honorable CM, honorable PM, who's wearing Assamese Gamcha, which has been GI tag very recently, he always wear in some good occasions. That helps and makes us feel proud to weave our own traditional gamchas and fabrics in traditional items. So related to all these activities, there is a lot of scopes in Northeastern creating rural employment, women empowerment, and their ministry, as said by the earlier speakers, there are so many schemes which are coming up, which have been provided by the different ministries under handloom, textile, and skill development. We can create a lot of employment, and even some of the youngs, as I have seen a lot of youngsters are sitting here, they can take up as a traditional, as a commercial weavers, and then they can open up their own training institutes and then boutiques, and they can produce lot more fabrics. But the thing is that we have to manufacture the fabrics in the any sort of looms, whether it is a power loom, hand loom, or any textile, so which can be marketable, which has got market. The potential of the fabric should be, the bias should be there. Also, we should come out from the local consumptions, which we are generally manufacturing for our own consumptions. So we think there is a lot of scope in northeastern states, especially in the upcoming area where we won't get much employment from the government sectors and all those. So we have to be an entrepreneur. We have to use the technologies. The technologies can help to reduce the cost of production. So once the cost of the productions are reduced, we can go for mass scale commercial, and then we can think of exporting and consuming the local market. There are so many techniques and technologies which we are manufacturing, and can, if anyone is interested, we are ready to supply and can provide them the training also. So we are looking forward. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. So now that we know that there are schemes available, there are training programs available, there is a, drudgery is reduced by a new model. Also, there is a supplier available. The next thing is design intervention. And manual designing is very, very tedious and costly, and therefore, TSC is also implementing a CAD training, that is computer-aided training, sponsored by Digital India Corporation which is developed by Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. The software is called DigiBunai. You all can search it, and whoever is interested can connect to us for that training. One is design intervention. The other challenge which is there is the availability of yarn, and also especially the dyed yarn. I would now invite Mr. Shanjit, writer for Vipure Enterprises, with a question: what are the challenges and opportunities he foresees with respect to bringing the textiles of Northeast onto the world platform on a larger scale? Over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, any product that one wishes to make, the eye has to be in the market first, because the product has to be sold. So when it is sold, what we understand by a market is the customer, basically we mean a customer. So that means we have to understand the likings and dislikings and preferences and tastes of the customers. So the taste of a customer today and the taste of a customer tomorrow are two different things. There are links, but then things are different, David. So from my experience of working in the field of textiles for the last about 35 years, what I can say is that taking fabrics and other textile materials from the Northeast to the outside world, to the global market or better, bigger market, there are a lot of other considerations that we need to address. One is this technical aspect. Supposing we are talking about muga. Muga is a unique yarn for Assam. But the issue is that muga, although it is very lovable for us, or it holds a very high degree of prestige for us, but yet this muga as it is not acceptable to the bigger world, because the fabric made out of muga yarn is very crispy, very rough, and it irritates the skin to a very large extent. Actually, I faced this situation in a Western country. Well, I took a piece of muga fabric to sew it to them way back in 1987. They liked the color, they liked the texture, but when the matter came to using it as an apparel fabric, then they said no. So after a long gap since 1987, when in around 2010, 2015, I got involved with another textile industry here in near Guwahati. So I found that a lot of things are required to be done in the yarn itself, so that the fabric that comes out of that yarn is smooth or soft, or it has got that customer-friendly behavior as far as technical aspects are concerned. So that is one thing. So I think to take the fabric to a bigger market, a lot of things in Assam, with the textile material available, we need to do a lot of research activities. Now, blending of the yarn, blending of the fibers to make different kinds of yarn is also another aspect which we have not so far attempted. As for example, we have got a fiber called remi. It is like a jute kind of thing, and it is very strong. People say that the tensile strength of the fiber is even better than that of steel. But if we want to make that particular fiber into an apparel fabric, we need to do a lot of mixing and a lot of other character changing operations on the material, so that it becomes something which will be desired. No, again, if we just look at only with one perspective, then the things will not be proper. Supposing remi, as I have mentioned just now, if we think that it can be oriented towards only apparel fabrics, then that may not be a suitable or a holistic solution. Because if the strength is the main criteria there, if the strength is the main characteristic there, then probably we can use it for other purposes, like for geotextiles, like for other, like tarpaulin kind of, making tarpaulin kind of cloths, or making even space suits also from that, or even making hose pipes out of that. So these are the different industrial applications of the remi fiber, but we have to now standardize it, we have to now characterize it properly, and probably make different processes for working on that particular fiber to get a different kind of product for the market. Now, when Amarendra Das was saying about handlooms and some kind of mechanized looms working here in Assam, I would say that the products that Assamese weavers here make are not not in ditto acceptable to a bigger or larger customer base, because the weaver is different, when the timing of the weaving is different, when the loom is different, you cannot really make a standardized type of cloth. Now, there is if you are familiar with a handloom situation, you will find that a fabric which is woven in the morning time and that same fabric woven in the evening time, the beating, it becomes different. When the person becomes tired, or when the person weaving is weaker, then probably the beating is not proper. So the peak per inch will now vary. So when you make a costly cloth, like supposing a muga cloth, a muga fabric, or a silk fabric, that kind of variation is not acceptable to a customer. So a loom standardization is important to make a standard cloth. So going from the yarn, you have to go through the process of also the process of making the loom, so that whether it's a weak weaver or it's a lady weaver or it's a male weaver, it doesn't matter, the product quality remains the same. I suffered one particular setback when I was involved in a particular export-oriented project. I found that the sample was acceptable to them, but when they gave us an order about 1,000 meters of cloth, we failed, because the weaving quality was not same what we earlier showed them as a sample. So these are the kind of things we need to address. Again, coming to the point of dyed yarn, dyeing is also a very tricky technical issue. A lot of people are going for natural dyes, but then all types of colors cannot be achieved with natural dyes, as you all know that. But so again, there also we need to intervene slightly in a different way. Supposing we make a warp yarn with a different color and a weft yarn with a different color combination, then probably the outcome of the fabric will be somewhat different. So for that we need to standardize it, and before that we need to go through a process of making that particular or achieving that particular color. So Otherwise, making a particular shade in a particular high temperature, high pressure machine or any kind of normal dyeing process to achieve a particular shade is not a very difficult proposition. But to come to a terms where supposing organic things are needed in the market or when natural dyes are preferred in the market, in those situations you have to come to a logical support base for the dyeing system, so that ultimately what is required in the market can be achieved comfortably. Thank you very
sir.
much.
Thank you so much. So, what he's trying to say, I'll just sum up in a manner commonly understandable by people. How many of you know Taj Mahal? Besides the reason why it is made, how many of you know the speciality of its foundation? What's so special about the foundation of Taj Mahal? So maybe you can Google it. It is based on a wooden foundation, and the only structure probably which passes through a river, which is very close to a river. And you know, in the presence of water, that strength of the wood increases. So that is what he meant, that you have to understand the material when you're applying for a certain. So when you're going for hose pipes, if you're weaving, you know, there'll be gaps in between. So you have to use a fiber which swells and, you know, closes the gaps. Something which is very strong, probably you don't use it for a dress material, you use it for something else. Fine. Then another thing is, if we don't have consistency, in the classroom someday the teacher will come, someday he will not come. So ultimately the students will stop coming. So consistency has to be there. That is another thing. And how many of you have experienced this? There are two very good people, but you bring them together, they are not compatible. They don't like each other. So they will work with him, but not work with him. How many of you have experienced this? So what happens is, if we like something, we'll really go a long way to work with them. If we don't like somebody, we really don't want to do even a bit. So if the dye does not have affinity or love for the fiber, it won't work. So you have to understand the material. So now that we know that the courses are there, the training programs are there, the interventions are there, schemes are there to support you, what things you should take care of, you know, you need to understand the material before you go into the application. And you also have availability of machinery, which is there. I would now invite Ms. Sandhya Ravi. She is the principal of a textile and fashion college. Suppose we have some students who are interested in doing something new in textiles and fashion, especially in Northeast. How do they go about it? Ma'am, over to you.
Thank you, Sapna. Good evening, everybody present here. In fact, first and foremost, I should congratulate all you Northeast students because you have handloom in your homes. Every home in Northeast does weave. I think a big round of applause for all the families of the Northeast. Because you guys are a great inspiration to all of us down there in South, for the simple reason that every family, they are not taught how to, weave. But definitely from times immemorial, their mothers have taught them how to go about doing it. So what is very important is, for them to, I would request the policymakers who are present here to see to it that they start courses that would definitely enhance the knowledge and help the students to build up their career, because this is completely a skill-oriented subject. And secondly, government has come out with so many schemes and policies that definitely will help all of you all start off or be an entrepreneur for yourself. So being an entrepreneur, what happens is you are giving jobs to others. And for that, what is most important is training yourself, perfectly. And for that, what is very, very important when you train also is you should have the knowledge of the market, what we call as a market mix. That is, product, place, price, and promotion. First, you should understand what is the kind of product that you have to deliver to the market. Then, based on the product, what is the place? Which is the place that you're going to deliver your products? And then, the pricing comes, and then how you promote your product is important. As all the panelists very clearly mentioned, standardization. Definitely, I say standardization is important, but in handloom, getting standardization is a little difficult. But world over, handlooms of India are loved very much. And secondly, India is very popular for our design culture and for the color combinations. People everywhere in the Europe love what actually, color combinations we have. That is one thing. And what I would advise the younger generation who are here is you must do a market survey, to understand what the consumer requires. See, when you do a market survey, definitely, you understand, you talk to 10 people around your house, you know what exactly they like, what is the style that they require. Start building in a smaller way, developing designs, sketching at free times. And definitely, I say every woman sitting here and every mother at home is a designer herself. Why? Because nobody taught anybody how to drape a sari, or nobody taught the mothers as to how to, braid their hair or do a hairstyle or do a simple makeup. But all of us are well equipped with all these basic things. So it is very, very important. And since it is a skill-oriented subject, I would urge all the students of Northeast to look at the course, because this will definitely give you job opportunities. Not only job opportunities, will give you a chance to work from the comforts of your house. You can start developing and, take up an e-commerce store to put up your products. So that gives you the flexibility to take care of your family as well as, take care of your business and be self-reliant and independent. And I just want to give you a small gist of my own story. My doctoral thesis was on sustainability. I did on environmental sustainability. And, the best thing what I did was, I was doing the research, but then I employed all the maids across my house to do the products. I trained them and, they started doing the products. And today I have a brand called Eco Moyer, and I do it through e-commerce store. And apart from that, what I have done is help the maids across my, in the vicinity of my area, earn some kind of livelihood, because earning about 500 rupees a day definitely helps them to buy milk and vegetables so that, they could live a decent life. So definitely this course, this particular sector has job opportunities, and I would end up by saying food, clothing and shelter never lose their sheen, and they are always there in, the basic necessity of man. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. So all of you know that there's opportunity to get trained and have your own ecosystem, become an entrepreneur, right from procurement of yarn to fabric to dyeing to design and also e-commerce. And you can connect to any one of us if you have further queries. Now, since we have a little bit of time, we'll take some 3 questions from audience. Any questions?
Ma'am, I just want to know, in case someone wants to go for design diversification among rural women in Assam, then what is the approach we should take for that?
So you may connect to us. We have a training program going on right now which teaches CAD design to women weavers, where they are learning design interventions. And it's a 10 days course with a wage compensation given to them. And that, it's an 80 hours course, so it could be spread 8 hours per day into 10 days or 2 hours per day, so total 80 hours have to be done. And close to 400 weavers have been already benefited in Assam. We have some more targets, so you please connect to us, we'll guide you on how to do that.
Apart from the existing programs which are being sponsored by the Department of Textile and Handloom, apart from the existing one, are there any more diversified training programs for women?
So, if we are looking for something which is apart from existing, we'll have to go into the future. So right now, these are the programs available. Samarth is there, PMKY is there. There are a lot of them. So you please connect to us exactly what you want besides what is already done. We'll definitely guide you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
I can add one point.
Sure.
What you have raised is a very, very pertinent point, is that without design changes, without design diversification, the products will not really last in the market eternally. So I am just willing to give you an example. Actually, these days I am using a Gamosa in my home, And that Gamosa is not a conventional, the floral designs are not the same as earlier it used to be. Like I am not using the normally japi type Gamosa. This one that I am using particularly has a hargila. Hargila is what in English? Hargila is a stork, greater adjutant stork. Purnima Devi Burman, who is a Green Oscar winner from Assam, she actually has been working in a village just pretty about within 10 kilometers from this IIT campus. It is near Dodora. She is promoting conservation of Hargila bird, that means greater conservation of that particular bird. And she has brought that Hargila to the Gamosa design. Now that is now gaining immense popularity amongst a large section of the people. Now that can be one direction in which our designers can move, like conservation of nature, conservation of wildlife, conservation of traditional or ethnic systems, ethnic products, ethnic components in their villages. Like supposing a house called Mereng. Mereng is a house in the Ga or Missing community, Naga community, yes. So that particular house is very unique in nature. The front goes up towards the sky, where the portion that is behind is somewhat substantially below. The design is so unique that if you can bring that to some kind of textile product, it will catch attention of the people. So I would suggest that the canvas is available before us. You have to just have an eye to identify it so that it can be placed in a good product so that it can catch a market. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So I would invite all of you, whoever is interested, to get trained in that designing software and create your own designs and find a market. Another question? Yes, please.
Hello, gentlemen. Good afternoon. My name is Sokhim Kumar Nath. Today it is said that the handicrafts of Assam have improved a lot. Now my question is, what is the reason why factory-made Gamosa resins in Assam today instead of Assamese Gamosa?
Your question is not clear. Can you just put your mic a little further away from your...
मैंने बोला है असम का गामोसा असमीज गामोसा असम में ही क्यों यूज नहीं करता है जब इतनी फंक्शन में बाहर की गामोसा यूज करता है असमीज गामोसा कहा गया असमीज हिपिनी का गामोसा कहा गया
I'll answer that. No, so I'll answer that question, you know. I'm giving you a leverage because you might be in your school or college uniform. But generally, if we see, the women here have still maintained the traditional clothing. The men per se have all adopted the British clothing. Because, you know, so we have to bring the change. We have to adopt what we were. If we forget, you have to start using it, all of us.
नहीं मैम हम असम का हैंडीक्राफ्ट डिपार्टमेंट अब हमारे असम में है ना इसलिए मैंने इस क्वेश्चन के सामने आप लोगों के आगे रखा है इसलिए
Actually, you see, let me answer that question in a slightly different way.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Since the late 1970s, a kind of new regeneration of Assamese identity started. So, starting from the Assam agitation or Assam movement, as you can call it, from that point of time, the preference to promote Assamese culture, actually, it went into an upswing. And today, you know, can you imagine what is the volume of Gamosa that is needed in Assam annually? I think Manish also will not be able to answer it properly. The number of pieces of Gamosa needed in Assam annually, it has crossed 5 crore. In Assam annually, more than 5 crore Gamosas are needed. In one handloom, you can make only about, we are talking about these things. But actually, that is a volume which Assamese weavers are not capable of addressing. So the power looms will have to come to the rescue. If you want to wear a Gamosa, you cannot produce here it locally. If you cannot produce it locally, then it has to come. When you are creating that demand will be met by some source. Actually, you are not aware, Gamsas are coming from China also. Are you aware of that fact? Gamsas are coming from China. Like in Maharashtra, in Maratha, they do this Ganesh Chaturthi, Ganesh Puja. The idols are coming from China. Do you know, we hold this bhavna, no? Bhavna is a traditional Assamese dance drama thing. Do you notice single component of the bhavna is made in Assam? So don't be very fussy about it. No, let us be comfortable, work hard. You will find at a particular point of time, you will be able to take a reasonable share of the market if you work in that direction. If the market is created, if you are not producing, somebody will definitely come and take your market. So there should not be emotionalizing, it should not be emotionalized.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So maybe you can take this opportunity to create a market and supply.
Madam,
So,
I'm putting one optimistic light here, that recently, in the very recent, we got GI registration on Gamosa. So I'm giving some light that we can definitely address this issue. The way our panelists described, that is the hard reality, that we can't stop inflow of power loom made Gamosa. But definitely, now we have several other tools in our hand while arresting such production units across country within the state, because it is now GI made and Gamosa is already under Reservation Act. So that way, that drive will help us to reduce these practices. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you.
So we would like to thank you all for such a patient listening. For any further clarifications, you can connect to us off the stage. Thank you so much. I would like to thank all the speakers.
I would like to also add one more point about Gamosa. You know, in Assam, Gamosa is a cotton cloth. It's a cotton fabric. Do you know that in Assam, not a single kilogram of cotton is produced? Do you know this? Assam does not produce a single kg of cotton yarn. So, whatever Gamosa we are wearing is all cotton yarn coming from South India. So we should be very, very rational about it also.
Excuse me,
Thank
sir.
you.
I think we can take this discussion off the stage because now we'll have to, move on to the next session. I thank all the speakers. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, ma'am. A round of applause for our speakers, and I think I felt it was quite interactive from the students. Questions were short, and I think the speakers were able to answer all of it. A round of applause for them once again. And to do the honors, I would request our very special guest, Senior Bureaucrat, Radhika Rastogi Madam, to please do the honors and present the mementos to our esteemed speakers on dais. And we have, for wonderfully moderating this session, we have Dr. Swapna Mishra, Chief Operation Officer and officiating CEO, Textile Sector Skill Council. A round of applause. Let us hear it up. And Dr. Sandhya Ravi, Professor and Principal, Nitya School of Fashion and Technology and Interior Design, Bengaluru, Karnataka. Sri Amrendra Kumar Das, Professor, Department of Design, IIT Guwahati. Sri Sanjeev Sabha Pandit, Proprietor, Meteor Enterprise, Guwahati, Assam. Director, and Sri Bandapathyay, Director, Weaver Service Center, Ministry of Textile, Guwahati. And Mr. Manish Jain, who is an expert and proprietor, entrepreneur in the textile area. I would request all the esteemed speakers to come in the front to have a group picture for our memories to cherish.